Hello, my name is Jaia A. I am a Los Angeles-based sports and entertainment attorney. I'm also the founder of a company called Diverse Representation, and I am a professor at UCLA. In 2008, I decided to quit my job working at a law firm in New York City. I decided to quit and to buy a one-way ticket from New York to Los Angeles. At the time I moved to LA, I didn't have a job. I didn't know anybody, I didn't have a car, and I got an apartment off Craigslist. Luckily, the apartment ended up matching the photos online. At the time I made the move, I was very passionate about wanting to work in the entertainment industry. I've always been passionate about the way people who look like me are portrayed on screen, and I wanted to have a hand in reshaping that narrative. So I jumped out of my comfort zone, bought a one-way ticket, and moved to the other side of the country by myself. Fast forward 9 months later, I realized LA was not the city for me, at least not at the time, and I ended up moving back east. And when I moved back east, I was at a career crossroads. Do I go and work at a firm again? Do I work in-house? Or do I stop practicing law altogether? And it was actually my parents who posed a great question. They asked me, do you want to continue building someone else's empire, or do you want to build your own? And for me, that was a light bulb moment because I honestly had never considered entrepreneurship as a viable full-time career option. Even though I had dabbled and dabbled in entrepreneurship my entire life, and even though my dad is actually an entrepreneur, I personally had never thought about it as a full-time viable career. School, especially grad school and law school, they teach us to be very linear in our way of thinking. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, and that's it. But there's so many different ways to go about pursuing your passion and achieving your career goals. Entrepreneurship is one of those paths. So fast forward to present day, 2019. I am now back in Los Angeles living full-time, and I am also now a full-time entrepreneur. I own 2 companies, my own law practice and a company called Diverse Representation. And I won't pretend like entrepreneurship is glamorous and fabulous and amazing. It's hard. It's a lot of hard work. It's stressful. It's difficult. It can give you a lot of anxiety. But it's also immensely fulfilling, and I honestly wouldn't change it for anything in the world. So enough about me. I know a lot of you are working 9-to-5 jobs that you hate, and you feel like you're not really pursuing your true passion or your true gift in life. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips for hopefully pushing you off the ledge and giving you your entrepreneurial wings to fly. But before I do that, I do want to do a quick exercise. I would like you to close your eyes and really think about what is your true passion. What really brings you happiness and joy? Okay, now open your eyes. That's the thing you should be pursuing. Okay, well, on to my tips. Tip number 1, you don't have to have it all figured out. Oftentimes, a lot of people are scared to make the entrepreneurial leap and pursue their real passion because they feel like they don't have it all figured out. They don't have all of the answers to the questions, or they don't have all of the puzzle pieces perfectly put together. But the thing about entrepreneurship is no one really has it all figured out. The answers are always changing, the questions are always changing, and new puzzle pieces are constantly being thrown at you. Don't let that be a deterrent for jumping out there. You can have the best business plan in the world, read the best business books in the world, but until you're actually in the trenches getting your hands dirty as an entrepreneur, you'll never really have it all figured out. And that's a part of the process, and that's okay. Tip number 2, it's okay to make mistakes. Recently in a podcast interview, someone asked me, what is the biggest mistake you've made as an entrepreneur this year? And it took me a long time to answer that question, not because I couldn't think of a mistake, but because I've made so many, it was hard for me to just pinpoint one. Don't think that you have to jump in this process being perfect or not making mistakes. Mistakes are honestly the best teachers when it comes to entrepreneurship. So don't let that also be a deterrent for why you can't just jump out there and go after it. You're going to make mistakes when you do it. You're going to make mistakes when you get in it. And it's still all going to work out in the end. And lastly, tip number 3, entrepreneurship is really the only true way to have control over your life. As long as you're working for somebody else, someone else will always have control and be able to dictate your life. Until you are pursuing entrepreneurship, that is really the only time you will have control over your time, have control over your destiny, have control over your passion, and most importantly, have control over your legacy. So those are 3 tips to just keep in mind if you are even considering jumping out there and becoming an entrepreneur. And I would like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes: "Life truly begins at the end of your comfort zone."